Caitlin Clark was robbed of the WNBA All-Star MVP in Chicago, and it was not an accident. Someone inside the WNBA office made a decision right before tip-off that completely changed her scoring chances. In this video we are going to show you exactly how it happened. But that is only part of the story. During that same weekend, Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese did something that fans are calling completely disrespectful. Stay with us until the end because you will hear both stories, and you will also find out exactly what Clark said during the All-Star game when she finally reached her limit. Show your support for Caitlin in the comments below and tell us why you believe she deserved to win the MVP.
You going for MVP now? I'm just gonna keep going.
While every other All-Star was posting selfies from parties in Chicago, where was Caitlin Clark on Thursday and Friday night? She was not at a club, and she was not on a rooftop holding a cocktail. Instead, she was moving from one appearance to another because that is what her All-Star weekend really looked like. All-Star weekend is supposed to be a reward. Players fly in, take part in a few photo shoots, attend some parties, and enjoy the celebration the league puts together to honor them for a season of hard work. That is what most of them expect, and honestly no one would blame them for taking it easy for a change. But Clark's schedule looked nothing like a vacation. It looked like one full workday followed by another with almost no time to slow down or catch her breath.
With the sharpshooter, Caitlin Clark.
She showed up for State Farm events. She showed up for Wilson Promotions. She showed up for Nike. And that appearance came with a major headline of its own. It was the launch of a brand new colorway for her signature Nike Caitlin 1 shoe. Think about that for a moment. Most players in that locker room do not even have a signature shoe, but Clark was busy speaking to the media about a new version of hers during a weekend that everyone else was treating like a break. Along with her sponsor commitments, she also took part in charity events and fan meet and greets, moving from one event to another while making time to smile and connect with everyone she met. Now compare that with the rest of the All-Stars. Look at the headlines from that same weekend and one thing becomes clear. Most of the other players were featured for their outfits, their party appearances, or the clothes they wore courtside. Their community work barely got any attention. It is not that those players did nothing. It is that the spotlight was focused on Clark in a completely different way. That difference says a lot about who the league and its fans are really paying attention to. And the fans made that clear in the most direct way possible. They waited in long lines for hours before some of those meet and greets just for the chance to spend 30 seconds with her, take a photo, get an autograph, and leave with a smile. Ticket resale prices for the All-Star game also jumped from around $71 last year when Clark missed the game because of injury to about $343 now that she was back playing. That was not the market responding to the league as a whole. It was the market responding to one player, and everyone inside that building knew it.
You always remember why you play the game. Like, I play it because I love it, and I haven't lost that joy and I haven't lost that love for the game that I had when I first got here.
I do have a gift for all. Something besides that. Sure, don't worry. I'm gonna get everybody else a pair of my shoes too. I just don't have that. So. Pretty cool. Thank you.
Here's what makes this even more important than it sounds. Clark is not just another role player who can afford to relax during a weekend full of appearances. She is already the most watched and most talked about player in the entire sport, with cameras following her every move. Even with all that attention, she still agreed to every single event on her schedule. None of this replaced her game preparation. It all came on top of it. She was spending Friday night meeting fans and attending events, then expected to bring that same level of focus and intensity on Saturday night that made her the player who caused ticket prices to triple in the first place.
Like, let me know if you're comfortable. He's so cute!
My long-term goal is obviously to inspire people all over the world. I mean, I feel like we're just beginning to scratch the surface.
Now imagine the position that put her in. She walked into the actual game already worn out after spending the entire weekend carrying so much of the league's workload on her shoulders. She did the work no one forced her to do and made time for every fan who stood in those long lines waiting to meet her. But after putting in all of that effort, the WNBA had something waiting for her that no one expected. A decision made behind closed doors was about to completely change the way the game would unfold before it even began.
A record-setting scorer and one of the game's premier facilitators makes her third All-Star appearance from the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark! This Dallas wing is...
Look at the box score and it might seem like a quiet performance. She finished with 17 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds in only 21 minutes. On paper that looks like a solid game from a bench player who had a good afternoon. But it is not the kind of performance you would expect from the player who caused ticket prices to triple and helped sell out the arena in the first place. The numbers can be misleading if you stop there because they do not show how those points were scored or everything she did when the ball was not in her hands.
Marcus talked about being excited to play with Olivia Miles as Clark puts in the first points of tonight's All-Star game. And here is Clark pulling and hitting on a deep. Players going up against each other. Howard having an incredible year for the Lynx. Clark again on a bomb. Here's Clark. Will she try again? You bet! Caitlin Clark with 3 logo bombs within the first 3 minutes.
From the opening minutes, Clark set the tone. She jumped into a passing lane for a steal early in the first quarter and took the ball all the way herself without any hesitation. Then she pulled up from logo range as if it were an easy layup, knocking down 3-pointers from a distance that would make most players think twice before even taking the shot. That aggressive start gave Team Spoon momentum, pushing them to play faster and with more confidence, and it raised the pace of the entire game. She was not just putting points on the board. She was deciding how the game would be played. On the defensive end, where most players usually do not put in much effort during an All-Star game, Clark actually competed. She challenged shots, got her hands into passing lanes, and fought through screens as if every possession mattered. In a game where many players simply jogged back and let the highlights create themselves, that level of effort stood out immediately. It is exactly the kind of performance fans point to when they say she plays the game the right way.
With the steal. 1-point Team Spoon lead. Clark connects on the 3. 4-3 of the half. Asia Wilson getting the ball. And then saying, hey, I wasn't even trying to there. Asia Wilson and Angel Reese hugging. How excited they were to play together here in the All-Star game as Wilson flicks it in off the feet. Backing away, firing a deep 3 and hitting.
Now compare that with Jonquel Jones, who ended the night holding the MVP trophy. Jones finished with 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists. On top of that, she made history by becoming the first player ever to win MVP honors in the league, the Commissioner's Cup, the WNBA Finals, and the All-Star Game. That is an impressive resume, and no one is saying she did not have a great game. The box score clearly worked in her favor. She had more points, more rebounds, and more assists across the stat sheet, which is why she walked away with the award.
How are we feeling going into the game? I know there's no 4-point line this year, so things maybe are looking a little different.
Things have not started off very well.
Yeah, I didn't even know that until now.
Took it away.
What are we going to shoot?
I don't know what we're going to do all night.
You can still shoot from 4-point range.
Yeah.
You can.
I don't know.
You're not rewarded for it.
Yeah.
But this is where the story becomes more complicated. Clark knocked down 5 3-pointers that night, and she was taking many of them from what would have been 4-point range because the WNBA had originally added a real 4-point line for the All-Star Game. It was placed farther out than the normal 3-point line and was designed specifically for that event. It rewarded the exact kind of deep shooting range that Clark has built her game around. Then, just before tip-off, the league removed that line with almost no explanation to the players or the media covering the game. Think about that for a moment. Based on where she was shooting from throughout the night, several of Clark's 5 3-pointers came from beyond where that 4-point line had been. If the line had remained, those shots would have been worth 4 points instead of 3. Suddenly her 17 points could have turned into a total in the low 20s.
Maybe enough to lead Team Spoon outright.
Clark on the drive, backs it away, wants Jones, finds her. Jones a 3 is good. Jonquil. Here's Clark. Whips it underneath. Area Finn will lay it in. Here's Clark. Back to Jones. Jones rumbling in. Will lay it in.
Think about the timing of that decision. The production setup was already finished. The uniforms had already been printed. The broadcast graphics had already been designed around a 4-point line that had been promoted for weeks. Then, just before the one player best known for shooting from that distance stepped onto the court, the league removed it without giving a clear explanation to the players or the media. If that line had stayed, Clark likely would have finished as the leading scorer on the winning team, and the MVP discussion could have looked completely different when it came time to vote. So why would the league make that decision right before the event after everything had already been finalized? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below about why it happened, and do not forget to leave a like. During Media Day, reporters went from player to player asking one simple question. Who do you think can break the WNBA scoring record? The same question was asked to All-Star after All-Star with cameras rolling, but one name kept getting left out of the answers, almost as if everyone had agreed not to mention it. Just 7 days before that very weekend, Clark had exploded for 45 points and 10 assists against the Seattle Storm, setting a scoring record in a performance that was still fresh in everyone's mind as they arrived in Chicago. It was not an old highlight people had forgotten. It had happened only days earlier and was still being replayed across sports shows covering the league. If you were asked which player could break the scoring record, that game was impossible to ignore.
Moreno tied the WNBA scoring record with 53 points in a game. Which current player do you think is going to break that record?
I'm going to have to go with Nafisa or Asia.
We have so many great players in this league. It really feels like anyone, any night could break that. I mean, Marina could break her own record. Like, there's so many potentials, I don't even know if I could name one.
I could see Asia breaking that. Asia, I mean, she's tied also with 53. She's incredible. I think she'll break it, definitely, eventually.
I'd probably say Asia Wilson.
Shoot, I'm going to go Asia again. She's going to re-break it because she's just that good, that efficient. She's already done it once, so she knows what it feels like. So yeah, I'm going to go Asia.
And yet when Paige Bueckers was asked the same question, she did not mention Clark. Angel Reese was asked as well, and the result was exactly the same. Neither of them brought up the player who had just recorded 45 points and 10 assists against Seattle only a week earlier. Instead, they mentioned other players, took the conversation in different directions, and found other ways to answer the question without naming the most obvious choice. When you listen closely to how carefully some of those answers were phrased, it does not feel like a coincidence. It feels like a deliberate decision.
And then it just felt like women's basketball just took the world by storm, and rightfully so. So I'm not, and I felt bad because I felt like jealous in a way, and I felt like envious, and I've never been that type of person where I don't want other people to succeed. Like, I want everyone around me to succeed, like, more than I want myself to succeed.
Now put that next to the way other players around the league talk about Clark. Sophie Cunningham has defended her in interview after interview, speaking out against the cheap shots and dirty plays Clark has faced from opponents all season. Lexi Hull plays beside her every night and talks about her like a teammate who has earned that respect on the floor. Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell have both praised her game, her passing, and her ability to make everyone around her better. So this is not the entire locker room shutting her out. It is a clear divide between the players who respect what she has built and the players who still cannot bring themselves to say her name. Then Barack Obama stepped onto the court and the whole mood in the arena changed within seconds. He walked past multiple All-Stars with cameras following him the entire way, and he went straight to Clark. He did not stop to talk with anyone else first. He was not trying to split his attention or make it look like a group visit. He walked directly to her like she was the one player on that court he wanted to see first.
Oh, hey, Caitlin, how are you? Really nice to meet you. You're great. You're fantastic.
Thank you.
Don't let all this nonsense get you down.
It's crazy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you know, I always say one of the things that was luckiest for me was I didn't get famous till I was like 45. So I was an old man. I mean, you're my daughter's age. They're not to have that much, burden and nonsense.
Fans watching live saw every second of it, and that is exactly why the moment hit so hard. Nobody planned or staged it. He made that decision on his own in real time, right in front of the cameras and in front of players who had spent the entire weekend avoiding Clark's name during interviews. The difference between that moment and the silence from Bueckers and Reese could not have looked worse for them. That silence was not meaningless. It was not nerves. It was not a simple mistake. It was not players forgetting the name of someone who had broken a scoring record just 7 days earlier. It came across like a choice, like a decision by some players to avoid giving Clark the credit she had earned, even when the obvious answer was right in front of them. Fans immediately understood what that suggested because when the cameras finally turned to Clark after the game, she did not let the moment pass without making a statement either.
So don't lose that joy. The game's like the game. And you're a hooper. And you hoop.
I try, sometimes.
No, you always hoop.
Thanks.
And you're on a nice little run right now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
You mind if I get a picture?
Yeah, come on.
Ready?
Come on.
So cute. Wait, guys, get in with me too.
Come on.
Nice to meet you.
Come on.
Fans waited all weekend for Clark to finally speak about it, and at halftime she did. The cameras moved in close. ESPN had a microphone in front of her, and SiriusXM had another one right behind it. Then came the question about the level of competition on the court. She did not avoid it. She did not give a safe answer or try to please the cameras. She faced the question directly and gave a response that turned the entire weekend into something much bigger than just a rules controversy. She openly criticized the lack of effort from some of her fellow All-Stars. It was direct and clear with no hidden meaning. Then she used one word that immediately grabbed everyone's attention. Scamming. That was the word she used to describe what happened to the fans who paid to watch the game, people who spent real money, took the time, and made the effort just to be there.
I'm going to you next because you set the tone right out of the gate. You came out firing and kind of
pick it up. I think we should pick it up more. Come on, let's play a little bit.
Play a little bit. I like it. It has set a different tone. Why did you want to do that?
I mean, I think these fans, they pay a lot of money to get in the door. Let's not just walk around. We don't need to go 100%, but let's pick it up and have some fun for them.
Think about what that word really means. Fans bought tickets that went from around $70 to more than $300 just for the chance to watch this game live. They took time off work to make the trip. They brought their kids, bought jerseys, and stood in long lines all weekend hoping for a photo or an autograph. Then some players went through the game like it was just another practice, acting like nobody was watching and like the effort did not matter because the score would not affect the standings. Clark's point was simple. The score might not count, but the money those fans spent was real, and so was the time they gave up to be there. Then compare that to the way she played in that same game. She dove for loose balls during an exhibition. She sprinted back on defense even when nobody else bothered to get past the free throw line. She played every possession at full speed in a game where most players usually slow things down and save their energy for games that actually count. That difference between her effort and the effort around her was exactly what she was talking about when the microphones came out. She did not stop there either. In another interview with Malika Andrews, Clark was asked about the criticism she has faced all year. She said she was not going to sit there and make judgments about who someone is without truly knowing them. That was her response to the constant questions about her character, the endless opinions about her attitude, her personality, and whether she is too direct or too competitive for some people. She is not interested in judging other people's character from a distance, and she is not asking anyone else to judge hers that way either.
Caitlin Clark, and Dominique Malonga, get up here, both of you. 5 threes to start this game. You really set the tone. Your team wanted to win. Why was it so important to you? This is supposed to be fun, but you guys were super competitive.
I think we just wanted to put on a show for all the fans, so we thought we wanted to make it fun. We appreciate everybody coming out. It was a fun time. Chicago put on a great All-Star, so we're just thankful for all these people that showed up.
None of this happened out of nowhere. Put it together with everything else from that weekend. The charity events, the meet and greets, the sponsor appearances, and the full effort she gave on the court. Even after a schedule that would have exhausted almost anyone, she had already shown what she believes she owes the fans. Then at halftime, she simply said out loud what many people were already thinking, that she expects her fellow players to bring that same level of effort. Fans online did not need long to decide where they stood. Clips of her comments spread quickly, and the reaction strongly supported her, with many fans becoming even more critical of the players who had spent the weekend avoiding her name in interviews and taking it easy during the game itself. The picture was clear for anyone watching. One player gave everything throughout the entire weekend and then competed like every moment mattered, while a handful of others treated the event like a paid vacation. That is the moment that changes the way people look at everything that happened from Thursday through Saturday. It was not just about a rules change that cost her a chance at MVP. It was not just about a room full of players who would not say her name. It was about a player standing at halftime and clearly saying what the league owes the people who spend their money to support it. Put all of it together, and the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Clark spent her weekend moving from charity events to sponsor appearances to fan meetups, then stepped into a game where the league removed the 4-point line and some of her own peers still would not say her name. Now look at Indiana. Clark, Cunningham, Hull, Boston, and Mitchell are building something real while jealousy continues to show itself everywhere else. That is why people keep showing up for Clark. Effort, honesty, and respect for the game. Show your support for Caitlin in the comments below and tell us why you believe she deserves the MVP. And do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications because we bring you the biggest stories and all the latest action. Click the video on your screen, and we will see you in the next one.